Clark is an attorney, he's a doctor, more importantly, he's a healthcare activist. The topic of his presentation is healthcare for all, yes, insurance companies, no, and I think we can all get behind that. So, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Clark Newhall.
Plus $2 will get me a cup of coffee at Starbucks. So that's what it's worth. Don't be impressed. Now, what I'm going to do, first of all, is tell you that, let me see, I'm supposed to give you a quote from Martin Luther King, so here it is. Inequality in healthcare is the greatest injustice of all. Now, Tim Christopher was absolutely right. The Congress and the Obama administration are doing their very best to ignore not only what is obvious in climate change legislation, but in my field too, which is in healthcare reform. That speech that you heard from Tim, you can apply every word of that to what is going on in healthcare reform too. So, as an example, I'll tell you that activists for single-payer healthcare, which is the idea that the government should collect taxes and then healthcare should be a right and insurance companies shouldn't have any part in healthcare, no part whatsoever. The activists who support that notion and the legislation which enables that, which is House Resolution 676 by John Conyers, all of that has been around for 15, 20 years. All of that has been ignored by the White House health reform discussions to the extent that they write the agenda for their meetings in a way that excludes the possibility of anyone mentioning single-payer health care, which we now refer to as Medicare for All. Medicare for All idea is based upon the very simple notion that we have a system that works really well, called Medicare. It works for 40 million Americans, most of whom are over the age of 65. And if you were to go to any person over 65 and say, we're going to take away Medicare, she would stomp you with her sensible shoes before she called AARP to riot. Because that's what would happen. It is the most popular social program in American history. Well, if somebody over 65 can have guaranteed health care for $96.40 a month, which is what it costs, why the hell can't the rest of us? That's the idea. Medicare for all. Okay, so now I've done my speech. Now I'll tell you what I did the last couple weeks. Oh, by the way, there was one point that Tim made implicitly, but not explicitly, which I think needs to be made to everyone here. All of us individuals are more powerful together than any $85,000 a year payment to Jim Matheson. But separately, as Lincoln pointed out so many years ago, we can easily be broken. So we must all work together. Now, not all of us will do what Tim DeChristopher so bravely did and risk going to jail. Not all of us have the money to put it into a video production. Not all of us have the time to spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day working on something like this. But all of us can do something. Something. One thing. All of us can do one thing. And in fact, all of us can do one thing every day. Every single day. There is no reason that a movement cannot be born and carried forward if all of us do one thing every day. Donate $1. Send an email. Call somebody. Show up at someone's house. Ask a friend to help. One thing every day for every single person. And of the 50 or 100 people in this room, if the one thing you choose to do is to invite 5 or 6 of your friends to do something every day, and they in turn choose 5 or 6, my God, it becomes like Amway, a multi-level marketing scheme. We can be the Amway of progress, and there's no reason we can't do that. I mean, for Pete's sake, if Nu Skin can sell that crap that they sell, why can't we sell change? We can. One thing every day for every single person. All right, now, let me tell you what my thing was. few years ago, when Sicko came out, I invited the Utah legislature and the Utah government to come in and watch Sicko at the Broadway Theater with me. And 3 of them showed up. But I got a lot of press out of that. The press showed up and gave me some ink for that and made fun of the legislature, which is not too hard in Utah. And so then I decided, well, I like that video idea. So I showed Sicko at the legislature during the legislative session a few months after that. And 3 of them showed up. But I got a little more ink. And I invited Donna Smith, who was one of the people that appeared in Sicko, to come, and she spoke to people in the legislature, people at the university, and so forth. And as things went on, I got involved in the movement, so to speak, such as it is, for single-payer healthcare, Medicare for all. Got to know people in the movement, and I realized that 15 years ago, when Hillary Clinton's healthcare plan went down in flames, it went down in flames largely because of a very simple concept put forward by the National Federation of Independent Businesses and what was then the America's Health Insurance Association. And that was, let's put up a video that trashes Hillary Clinton, put it on TV, and run it. And they did. And that was the Harry and Louise videos. Some of you here don't remember those, but many of you do, I'm sure. The Harry and Louise videos were basically a couple sitting down and talking about how terrible it was that government might control your health care and insurance companies were wonderful, so let's not let Hillary's plan go through. They were very successful, and that campaign, that Harry and Louise campaign, combined with some bloviating from Rush Limbaugh and a very clever use of an 800 number, is what trashed the Hillary Clinton health care reform 15 years ago. So I got the great idea of hiring Harry and Louise to get on TV, and I would hire them. I decided I would hire them. I would shoot a video that would have Harry and Louise saying, you know, 15 years ago we told you that healthcare reform was terrible. Well, guess what? We were paid by the insurance companies. We were lying. We were wrong. Now this year you should blah, blah, blah. Okay? And I actually got to talk to the guy that's married to Louise and runs their contracts, Harry and Louise's contracts. And he said, Ben Goddard, he said, oh yeah, sure, their contract's up at the end of February. I'll talk to them, we'll see if we can get their contract. Well, it turns out Ben works for the insurance companies, and so he wasn't very helpful. But I did get to talk to Harry, and Harry said, oh yeah, I'll do it. And in the course of doing this, because I had made this connection with Donna Smith and others, and because I had all set up, I already had it all set up, shooting a video in Los Angeles with a real producer and a real stage, and my sister-in-law, who's a real casting director, and all that stuff, had it all set up and ready to go. 2 weeks ago, I got a call from a guy in New York who said, you know what, I have a script all set in support of single payer, and it's ready for Mike Farrell to shoot. And I said, wow, great, because Mike Farrell is the guy who played B.J. Honeycutt on MASH. And it turns out that Mike Farrell is an activist. And this guy had written this script because he knew Mike Farrell, and he'd run it past Mike Farrell, and Mike Farrell said, sure, I'll be happy to do it. So 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks, mind you, I said, all right, we'll do it. And haggling with this guy, and haggling with the director, and haggling with the Screen Actors Guild, and the American Federation of Television and Radio Announcers, and blah, 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 blah. And in a week, we put together the shoot. And so last Saturday, a week ago, Mike Farrell shot 7 video spots that will be presented over the internet. We'll viralize them over the internet, and we'll go on Grit TV and Air America, and we'll go on Michael Moore's email list of 500,000 people, and we'll go to every one of you that sign up, and we'll, when they're on the internet, allow you to click on a link in the video to directly send a fax to Congress. And you can, if you like, and I would encourage you to do this, walk out of here, go back to the back of the room there where Sherry, my outreach coordinator, is sitting, and she will show you how to send a fax to Congress today from our computers back there. We shot these 7 videos, and she'll show you one of them, the one that we have already in the can and ready to go, of Mike Farrell talking about single-payer health care. It is very convincing. I can tell you, a guy like Mike Farrell talking